the way, and I love the producers of the show, but they were like, Apollo, it really doesn't have to take that much time during the day. It's really up to you. Yeah. It's all day. It's like 10, 12 hours a day for like 10 weeks straight.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's 7 days a week.
Yeah. There's no break. There's no break. Your day off is spent in front of a camera being asked questions. And if you don't give them the answer they're looking for, they're asking you another question in a different way to get the same answer that they're looking for.
Your day off is the live show, dude. That's your day off. Literally.
Yeah.
Because back then we had result shows. So it's like, oh, let's go out Monday nights. Woohoo. And then you're like, oh shit, you get saved. They call your name and you're like, great. When am I going to teach my celebrity now? Like, because it's just so much pressure, you're right though. It's so consuming. And by the way, they wouldn't get any celebrities to do the show if they told them the truth.
It's true. But I tell you, I learned a lot from the show. I really did. Number one, I had a lot of fun, and it obviously wasn't easy, but I learned a lot about the show. I learned a lot about dancing and life, like those two, the life lessons were somewhat intertwined. And I think like the reality show too. So it was really powerful for me. And I got to tell you, it changed my life, Cheryl. Like it literally changed my life.
Wow.
The day after that we won, I was no longer, Apollo Ono, this like Olympic athlete. I remember going to the airport like a week later, and there was no more Olympic athlete. It was Apollo, the dancing guy,
Yes.
like, will you dance with me? I'm like standing in the security line, and I'm like, oh boy, everything had changed. Couldn't go anywhere. Pictures all the time.
Well, that was when this show was at its peak. So when Emmett and I danced, it changed his freaking life because he was the guy behind the helmet that no one knew, right? Then all of a sudden, here he is, twinkle toes. He had that charisma and that smile, and he had rhythm, and he was like, every woman wanted to literally make love to Emmett Smith, I think, at that point after the third
by the way, I just saw Emmett. This is how crazy it is.
Oh, really?
I saw Emmett last week, randomly. I randomly ran into him.
Where?
He looks amazing. Looks amazing. Yeah, he looks amazing.
Where?
It's really good. In Vegas.
Oh, he loves him.
Yeah, maybe I wasn't supposed to say he was in Vegas.
Fine. Fine. He's probably opening up some sort of business. Like this guy is so business savvy. He was the first partner that sat me down, was like, okay, kid, what do you plan on doing after this is all said and done? And I was like, what? Like, I plan on drinking. Like,
Emmett's killed it. He's crushed it.
I'm so proud of him.
By the way, and I love the producers of the show, but they were like, Apollo, it really doesn't have to take that much time during the day. It's really up to you. Yeah. It's all day. It's like 10, 12 hours a day for like 10 weeks straight.
Exactly. And it's 7 days a week.
Yeah. There's no break. There's no break. Your day off is spent in front of a camera being asked questions. And if you don't give them the answer they're looking for, they're asking you another question in a different way to get the same answer they're looking for.
Your day off is the live show, dude. That's your day off. Literally. Yeah. Because back then we had result shows. So it's like, oh, let's go out Monday nights. Woohoo. And then you're like, oh shit, you get saved. They call your name and you're like, great. When am I going to teach my celebrity now? Like, because it's just so much pressure, you're right though. It's so consuming. And by the way, they wouldn't get any celebrities to do the show if they told them the truth.
It's true. But I tell you, I learned a lot from the show. I really did. Number one, I had a lot of fun, and it obviously wasn't easy. But I learned a lot about the show. I learned a lot about dancing and life, like those two, the life lessons were somewhat intertwined. And I think like the reality show too. So it was really powerful for me. And I got to tell you, it changed my life, Cheryl. Like it literally changed my life.
Wow.
The day after that we won, I was no longer, Apollo Ono, this like Olympic athlete. I remember going to the airport like a week later, and there was no more Olympic athlete. It was Apollo, the dancing guy, like, will you dance with me? I'm like standing in the security line, and I'm like, oh boy, everything had changed. Couldn't go anywhere. Pictures all the time.
Well, that was when this show was at its peak. So when Emmett and I danced, it changed his freaking life because he was the guy behind the helmet that no one knew, right? Then all of a sudden, here he is, twinkle toes. He had that charisma and that smile, and he had rhythm, and he was like, every woman wanted to literally make love to Emmett Smith, I think, at that point after the third season.
By the way, I just saw Emmett. This is how crazy it is.
Oh, really?
I saw Emmett last week, randomly. I randomly ran into him.
Where?
He looks amazing. Looks amazing. Yeah, he looks amazing.
Where?
It's really good. In Vegas.
Oh, he loves him.
Yeah, maybe I wasn't supposed to say he was in Vegas.
Fine. It's fine. He's probably opening up some sort of business. Like, this guy is so business savvy. He was the first partner that sat me down, was like, okay, kid, what do you plan on doing after this is all said and done? And I was like, what? Like, I plan on drinking. Like, back in my
Emmett's killed it. He's crushed it.
I'm so proud of him, but he's on my shit list because he hasn't responded about this podcast. So whatever. Okay. So did you request Julianne to dance with, or no? Because you were her first partner, right?
No, it's pre-selected. Yeah.
It's pre-selected. Well, no, it's not.
Well, I mean, the producer just selected her to dance with me, and or vice versa.
I mean, okay. So All Stars, though, did you request someone? Because it's different for.
I was supposed to dance with Julianne again, but Julianne at the last minute wasn't able to do it because I think she was filming. I think she was filming with Tom Cruise or something. I think for that show. Some new guy.
This dude named Tom Cruise. Yeah.
Yeah. He's going places.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. So then they paired him with Karina.
Got it. Okay. So two completely different types of humans, right? Like,
yes.
In general.
Yes.
But before we get to All Stars,
yes.
What was your first steps like? Literally. Doing, like, meeting Julianne. She was bubbly. She was so excited to be there. This changed life, it was a pivotal moment, I'm sure, in her life as well. But was it harder? Because okay, so I've known her since she had an English accent when she was 10 years old in England, right? So we've all known each other forever.
That's hilarious.
I know. And we competed. Like, I have pictures of us competing against one another. And I clearly developed at a very young age because I looked so not under 21 or youth or junior category next to little tiny Jules and Mark Ballas, and then Derek and his partner as well in San Francisco, competing at a Marriott International Grand Ball. I'll never forget it. But then, so Derek and Julianne, they were never like teaching pros. Like, either was I when I started. Like, maybe I had just turned pro, but I was so new to the circuit in that sense. I was still very much an amateur in my head, at least. And I never taught pedestrians how to dance. And that's a whole nother way of, teaching is a whole nother skill, right? Was it when you first met her, was she nervous? Like, was she able to teach you like the male steps, or did you get help?
I will tell you this. From the moment that I met Julianne, she was super driven. Like, super driven. I don't know if she really knew where and how she wanted to tackle. She just wanted to win. Mm-hmm. She's a dancer, so she knows how to perform and entertain. And she knew how to teach me. Okay. In her own way. I don't know. Again, I have no.
Well, it turned out great.
Yeah, it turned out really well. And she did not hold back. She was like the boss.
Oh,
legit. She was the boss. Yeah.
Because, I think the way that we've been packaged, like, meaning the personalities, because it is a TV show, and those packages, I feel like, are more valuable than the actual live performance as far as like voters go and people at home voting. She comes across, right? She came across as this like girl next door, so sweet, so innocent, never as this like, hard taskmaster, I guess. I mean, I was considered that person for sure, but like, it's interesting to hear that perspective.
She was always smiling,
for sure,
tons of energy, but there was a side of her that was really driven. And when I could not remember the lines or I could not remember the steps, and when I wasn't counting, because by the way, I didn't count when I was in the show. I just did it by feel.
For sure.
Which I don't know. For me, it worked. She did not like that. She's like, no, you're not counting. That means that you got to do it alone. And I'm going to watch you do it. And I was like, oh, I actually don't know how to do this. Like, I don't know how to do this without you. And so she would just stand by that little machine, start, stop, rewind, start, stop, rewind for like an hour and make me go over the steps. Because repetition is so important.
Yes. It's Emmett, by the way, same thing. He's like, you just are saying a bunch of numbers and it doesn't make sense to me. And I'm like, well, you're going to have to, unless you can do it alone, then like, I will never forget seeing Christy Yamaguchi and Mark Ballas during camera blocking one day. And they were up and she was doing all of her quick steps, like right next to Mark, and didn't miss a freaking step. And I was like, they did this every week. And
Chrissy's so talented. Oh my God. It makes it look so easy.
And then she also makes it sound like, it was a fun show. Like, I'm like, girl, do you understand what you did? Like, I'll never forget it. Honestly, I was like there and my jaw dropped to the floor. I was like, did she just do her whole quick step without touching Mark? Like, and then she did it every week, and so then, at least like when it comes to live shows, you're not going to mess up because you got it instilled in your muscle memory.
100%. Yeah.
What was the most challenging dance for you and why?
Look, they were all hard. They were all hard.
Your samba was memorable.
Samba, people seem to like our samba, maybe because those wild outfits and stuff.
No, it's the quality of movement, Paulo. I
don't know. I can't even watch
Samba is always so awkward for men, especially. But like your arms, like, it's very Julianne-ish, like the style of it. So it was very like, like wide, like
That's
spread
really
your
funny.
wings, like, and in your hands.
Yeah.
Like, it was impressive because I have to say, those
that's fun.
3 people, Derek, Julianne, and Mark, they brought in a whole nother type of vibe. Like, prior to them, like when I started season 2, people were impressed by a lockstep. Like, it was like, holy, oh my God, here goes Emmett. He's shimmying his shoulders. He's got like, and we did the easiest steps ever, and it was fun. But then when these 3 showed up, they took us to a whole nother level, which is great. But what can you go through the 7 days of like what your schedule was like
on the show?
Monday through Monday? Yeah.
Sure. So maybe we should start with Tuesday is that we used to have on Tuesday was the results show. So everyone is there at the lot, which is, just where the studio is. You kind of show up, you're there all day. You may have to dance again. But you effectively go through the results show. And then at the end of the show, after everyone is exiting, the producers give you the song or a choice of songs that you can dance to and the actual style of dance that you're dancing. So like, you have the quick step next week, or you have, the tango, whatever. And then some people would go that night, go to the studio and start practicing that night, Tuesday night. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday is as much time as you possibly can fit in, hours of practice. And then I think Saturday or Sunday, they have something called camera blocking, which you go back to the studio and you have to perform your dance, even if it was only 80% done. And you do that for the cameramen so that the producers can mark down the cooler parts of your dance for the camera angles, because the show is done live, right? It's actually done live, and it's the first time you truly perform it. So I think you get like an hour of practice on the actual dance floor, which is very different than the dance back then. And the dance studio was like different sizes, it's kind of all, you would share different studio sizes. And then you would go in on Monday and you'd basically perform this dance live. And it was like exhilarating. It was fun. It was, a lot of fear, right? Sometimes you'd mess up. Sometimes
you were nervous?
Oh yeah. Every time. Every time I was nervous.
But like same nerves as like before you would skate, or?
It's nerves because like with skating, I don't ever forget my step. I don't ever forget my warm up. Like I know it so well. It's nerves because for anticipation of the results or the unknown.
Got it.
This nerves was literally like, Cheryl, there'd be times I'd walk in on Monday and shit, I don't remember my dance. I don't know what the hell happened. Oh yeah. And Juliana looked at me and she's like, how could you possibly not know this? Like, we were just here yesterday. You did it perfectly yesterday. I was like, I don't know what happened.
Wait, you would just blank?
I just would blank. Completely.
Wait, is
blank.
that the devil? Is that the thoughts that just took over? Because you obviously knew it. Like, you must have been, like Emmett would say, that he literally would eat, breathe, shit my routines.
Yeah, the same. But there's not every week, but there's times where I'd walk in and I would like just make a clean mistake that I've never made before on a particular moment of the song. And in my head, I'm like, wait, why am I making this mistake? I've never even made a mistake before this time.
Interesting.
And yeah. But then, when you go live, it's totally fine.
Well, they always say if you have a shitty dress rehearsal, then you've got a great live show. I don't know if you saw that pattern when you did it, but what was the difference between Karina and Julianne's teaching methods?
Oh, wow. There's a lot of differences there. And Karina was great. It's just they're completely opposite people in every essence. Karina she was like a machine. Like she was like, I don't know how to describe. She was like a machine. She just like number one, she was never tired. Julianne would get
Never.
tired. No, Karina never tired. And even if she was, never admit to being tired. She'd have like a little packet of gummy bears that she'd have. That's all she would freaking eat all day. And like Red Bulls and coffee all day. She just was just like a little more hard. That makes any sense.
Interesting. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean? Like strict or like different, like more definitely not didn't beat around the bush, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, personality wise, I think culturally also don't beat around the bush.
Totally. Yeah.
And just if I was like, Karina, we're gonna practice for 18 hours, she'd be like, good. She'd be good, yeah, we need that. We need that, you know? And I fed off that. I can say this, and Karina will probably say the same thing. I don't think that we had great dancing chemistry. It was like, yeah, like we from the very beginning, we both wanted to win, we both wanted to work hard, but there came a point of time where it was just like I don't want to say the word conflict, but it was it was like two opposite magnets. Two opposite magnets. Of course, conflict happens, but this was like it just like Karina we just didn't have the natural chemistry.
But go ahead.
And so Karina would like she would get mad at me. I remember she would get so pissed, and she would just say stuff to me. I'm not gonna tell
Why would she get mad at you?
I think because I mean, you like for you because this is your sport. If there is no chemistry, it doesn't matter. Well, for her, she was like, we're gonna find it. We're gonna find that chemistry. We're gonna create it somehow. We're gonna recreate it. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to go down that path. You know,
interesting.
Like, I don't feel comfortable.
So she was like, but see, people are not, I think with movement, it shows a different type of vulnerability, which I think obviously there's no words, but there's also body language, which is super powerful, right? And you either have it with someone or you don't. And it's that black and white. Like there's many partners out of all 27 of us. There's been a few times, of course, where you just can't force the freak no matter what. Like there's no way, even if I grabbed your face and pretended like I was like people are not dumb, right? Like you can see it. You can see
that happened. That happened. Yeah.
It did happen.
But oh yeah. Oh, everything happened. Everything. She tried everything.
But was there like were you friends, or was it just like, right? Some people just don't buy, like it's just the way it is.
I think there was a period of time where we probably weren't communicating very much during the whole show. It was bad. It was mostly me. Yeah, it wasn't her. It was mostly me. I didn't know how to. Look, I take full responsibility. I did not know how to communicate my little Apollo feelings, right?
Totally.
And Karina was just like, "What's your problem? You know, like just do the work. Let's just make this happen."
And she loves good old competition. That woman. So like, if you see that,
she's got a lot of fire. You know, which was amazing. Which was amazing.
And she just had a baby. Like, look, there's some people, it doesn't matter how old you are, you still are going to be an amazing dancer. That's not the case for myself. But even if she's 103, she's still going to freaking do rumba walks like nobody's business. Like, she just has it in her. Like, you could tell that she was raised in just like an environment of just rumba walking her whole life until it was perfection. But she is just like in a class of her own when it comes to that. But was it because you think that you went in there comparing a little bit like your experience season 4 versus season 15, whenever All Stars was it season 15? Yeah.
I don't think so. You know, I think with Julianne, I was much younger. It was different. Look, overall, it was new, but it's a different person. So I didn't have any of those expectations with Karina. It was with Karina. And by the way, there were some things with Karina that I couldn't do with Julianne. That was a strength to Karina. Like our, I think our tango was really, really strong, and we performed really well together. So with Karina, it was a lot more fire, and a lot more. It felt a lot harder the second time we did the show, and I would say we both put in a lot more hours before. And
was it the emotions that were like a lot, like the ups and downs that maybe? Because like, would you say that you were emotional? Like during this time?
No, I think that Karina probably would have liked me to have been more emotional.
Got it. Like more open and vulnerable.
Like you, I could just like shut it down.
Same.
Right? Like no emotions, like no response. And she's like, are you like a piece of stone? What is this? Like, I feel like I'm dancing with like a statue. You know, it's not what I want. like we have to come together. And I was just like,
what would the judges say? Totally. You're like, armor coming up.
Yeah. Fortress, drawbridge up, right?
What did the judges say to you guys? Like, did they pick up on the chemistry side of things, or?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think everyone does, and by the way, we're both being recorded for 10 hours a day by our producers. So it's not like they don't know what's going on. They can obviously sense and see,
right.
They're getting the feedback.
And what was your packages like?
It all makes for a good show.
Totally.
The packages they try to show some drama, right? They want to touch on that stuff a little bit. I mean, one time, like ripped off the microphone and I got to talk to you right now.
She's so like, dramatic. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was definitely good television.
I really learned a lot from both Julianne and from Karina.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from both of them.
What happened? So wait, you can't just say that she ripped her mic off. You're gonna have to say more. What triggered at that?
It was my lack of emotional participation.
Right.
So like she would thrive on this raw passion chemistry. I forgot the dancer that she danced with for years. Slavic, who's this insane dancer, kind of ridiculous, right? He's so good. And she used to make me watch them two dance, and I was like, oh, I totally get it. Like, you guys are it's like this fire whirlwind together. And I was like, this is amazing, Karina. But so it's like, we don't have it, it's like someone's trying to make a fire with a little piece of wood, but it's not sparking, just rubbing the fingers together.
Oh my God. Did you know that early on? Did you feel it early on? Like you just knew right during the rehearsal time?
Early on, it was too early. I think once you start to get really fatigued in the show, which by the way, everyone gets just tired because you're just literally physically, it's so demanding. Yeah. You're not sleeping a lot. There's all these external pressures of marketing yourself to the world to try to get more votes. You're doing all these interviews, you're trying to do media, and you're trying to create these packages that make you seem, more votable or more vote worthy.
Disney friendly.
So I'd say week 3 and 4 start to show that this is not, something wasn't clicking. Yeah. And then that just became clear. But I had both shows were really, really fun. The second show was really hard, really, really, really hard.
I felt it too. Emmett and I felt it too. It was first of all,
much more heavy.
Yeah. And we were all basically, most of you guys were all champions. Who wants to see a champion lose? I think this is why the ratings weren't that great. I think that honestly, I think it was you see a bunch of people who have either, other than Bristol Palin and a couple others, but for the most part, there was all winners, right, on our season or close to. And you're like, wait a second. But the whole premise of the show is to learn how to dance. It's it was intense, and I felt it. It was interesting.
It was good. I don't change anything. Only thing that I never try to change anything from the past. Only thing I would have changed is I wish that I had the emotional capacity to be more vulnerable, I think, with Karina at that time. Mm-hmm. And I think that it would have made the heaviness go away. Mm-hmm. And this is what's so interesting about the show, right? So people who are listening to this, imagine that we're talking about a reality show here, which is not really that important in the world. The right variety show, whatever, but imagine you take the same scenario, but you're in a work, career-based environment, and you're having to work with someone that maybe that your initial personality is not someone you'd hang out with all the time, but you have to go through it. Mm-hmm. Right. And I think at that point, you have a choice to be able to accept your differences and what I would call surrender to the outcome that you've been given. So the surrendering of the outcome is you're both working on this project together. You both have to do this. You can either quit and just call it, or you can see it through in the best way possible. And the more that you fight it and you just go through the motions, the heavier it gets. There's an actual physical heaviness. Mm-hmm. Here's an actual example. Karina said this to me too. There was one part of the show in which she would run towards me and I would have to hoist her up by her hips like this.
Like the dirty dancing lift?
Yes, exactly. And Karina weighs nothing.
0 pounds.
She's so lean, she's incredible shape, so fit. And I was actually a lot stronger and bigger, more muscular for the second time that I went on the show. I'd been lifting more weights. I felt, trying to get my like upper body going, trying to get a girlfriend, and all of which failed. But then, so like as like in the rehearsal, she would continuously do this, and she just felt so heavy to me, right? And so, no, but she wasn't heavy. Like she's not heavy.
No.
Right? So that's what I'm giving you this example because this triggers everything. Because she's super light. Yeah. And she even dances light, right? But I think when we bring when I brought that heaviness to the show, everything else, it's like I was wearing this weight vest and everything else feels hard. So, if there's anything to glean from this experience, is that can happen in your normal life. You will bring this heaviness, this external, this invisible weight vest that does not need to be there. So I always call this thing like, are you hammering through life with the brick on the brake? Because if you are, your car is going nowhere. You're just spinning your tires and you're wondering what's going on, and you're trying to blame the engine or the car when there's nothing wrong with the car. You just have this emotional brick that is on your brake while you're pedal to the metal. And it doesn't make sense. And so when I look back, I was like, I was doing this subconscious act where I had this excess, activity that made everything else seem hard. And she even said that to me. She's like, what are you doing? Like, what is going on? It didn't click for quite a while when I was on the show.
Was it like self-sabotage?
There's probably some parts of that. And then just, I think how you communicate with yourself when no one else is around, you have to be really mindful of that, because I always say, whether we can measure this or not, I feel like our cellular system is always listening, whether we realize it or not. So when you're saying stuff like, I'm not good at that, I hate that, I'm not good at this, something in your body is listening to those words and they're making them into a truth. Always. The more you say it, the more solidified those words become. And some people, yes, they react really well to negative feedback. I think it's somewhat rare, but I think that's why we have to be really mindful of the way that we communicate internally, this internal dialogue that we have. That's why when we look in the mirror, there's got to be some self-love associated with that. Even if we are not satisfied with who we see in the mirror, there has to be some level of acceptance and I think self-love associated, or else you bring that heaviness with you throughout the rest of your day. And that stuff starts to become a truth.
Mel Robbins says to give yourself a high five in the mirror every day, which I've been trying to do. And it actually sparks a smile, and it just feels so stupid. Literally, I feel so dumb, but it does bring a lot of light into my day. Seriously, because you're right. One question before we do rapid fire, but we do this thing called rapid fire. It's fun, I promise. How did you get that heavy? Because I wish I heard you say this during the last few seasons of my time on the show, because I totally get what you're saying, and you're right. And it's always about, and we control that. If you'd like to feel this way, continue on the self-hate and the self-talk and whatever it is that you're saying to yourself and doing or thinking. But you can also choose the opposite. How did you take it off, that armor, I guess, eventually in life?
Well, I think for me particularly, it came from a series of failures, right? Failures in relationships. You'd have failures on the career paths or investments or emotional. And at some point, when your back is against the wall, you no longer look outwards for the answer. You start to look inwards at the answer, right? And you start to ask these inquisitive questions about why am I here? What's my purpose? What's going on? Why is this happening to me? So that needs to change from why is this happening to me, right? As the being a victim, which, there is a victim sense to everything that you do, but the reception to the question and the way that you ask these questions are really important. That's why I just a huge believer in psychocybernetics. This is a very old book that I read when I was really young, that I think how your subconscious is listening and reacting is really important. And so the way that I took away that heaviness was, we always have a choice. You may not have a choice of the circumstance that you're in, the things that have happened to you, all these things in the life of cards that you've been dealt with. They can be excruciating, and you should shy away from them because they're real, right? And they are debilitating and they are hard. but the way that we can interact with those moments is within a semblance of our control. And we do have a semblance of control over that mechanism. And this can be trained like anything else. So whether you're using the mental numbing to get you through your day, I think that the more that we can embrace this entire journey, that it's not perfect, it's not always going to be pure joy and love and fulfillment. And there's going to be times when you really question the path and you question, am I beautiful enough? Am I intelligent enough? Can I get through this stuff? What's my reason for living? These are normal, inquisitive processes that happen, and then reframe them into a new set of questions about, I do believe I can get through this. I've done hard things before, and visualizing yourself into saying, I'm going to stop thinking about what could happen if it goes wrong, because you can't control that, and start visualizing what are the actual processes and steps that I need to do today to get a win before noon. For this week, for this month, for this year, inch by inch, 1% at a time. Small goals. And then when you hit those goals, it's not like you go out and celebrate and you get off the wagon and you're done.
Yeah.
But it is a head nod of like, hey, like, I'm here. I'm still alive. I'm still breathing. I still have a chance. And it's easier for me to communicate that than it is for people to live it. But I think you have to have reminders. That's why I love journaling. I think journaling is so powerful to go back and reflect upon those things at the end of the year instead of the New Year's resolution, right? We've still got, 6 more months left in the year here. However, taking each quarter, each month as it is. It's hard to visualize yourself in 5 years.
Yeah, no, this is how I do my sobriety. It's freaking one day at a time, sometimes 1 second at a time, and sometimes 1 minute at a time. Because when you think so far, like, even if I can't say I'm going to be sober forever, because what is that? Like, what is that makes me want to drink? I'm not kidding. And so it's like, I just have small goals. Like, you're right.
Yeah. So that's what helped with the heaviness. I think the heaviness was, I have a very difficult time personally surrendering to anything at all. Same. Right? It's just the personality. But I became very comfortable with, it's like the Olympics, right? If I get a result that I can no longer control, in 10 years, that result is not going to have an asterisk next to my name and then a whole paragraph of excuses of why Apollo didn't win.
Right.
No, dude. It just says the result. It's a result, and they move on. Yes. Okay, so you need to get used to this and surrender to that outcome. And do you have to be happy about it? No. Do you have to accept that you could have done better? No. You have to accept the result for what it is, absorb that emotional state and feeling that you've had, and then use that as a catalyst to metabolize you progressing towards the next thing that you want to do. It's the only way. It's my view, right? Again, big grain of salt. All this can be completely useless. You can throw it out the window, but these are also like we make everything about ourselves. Like, we're just one little speck, like literally spinning in the middle of nowhere. Like, literally, like, this is not like our whole life. Like, sometimes my reaction can get so big. I'm like, first of all, no one cares. That person's not talking about you. It's like, it's just the little petty things. But also, like, there is no success without failure. I mean, really, like, can you imagine a world of people just succeeding? Like, how anticlimactic is that? Like, it's so, anyway, you're so inspiring, Apollo, seriously. And I hope to talk to you more about this, because this is fascinating. I love your brain. Rapid fire, quickly. Okay, quickly.
Who falls in love first, the celebrity or pro? Not saying you did, but just in general.
Oh, man. Celebrity.
Yep. Do you believe there is any manipulation involved in the show's outcome at all?
Oh, yeah.
What's one thing viewers may not know about the show's production?
That there is like hundreds of people who are absolutely critical to the show. Like, they are so important to the show, and you never see their face. And they're amazing. It's a whole machine. It's a team, and that team is badass. It's amazing. Yeah.
Period. How much of the drama do we see is real versus scripted?
I would say about 75%.
Which part?
I think that 75% of the drama is pretty real.
Like, where? Like the packages?
Yeah, they're just enhanced.
It's right? Like a spec. Really, it's a spec of a freaking, like, a moment. Let's say it's a controversial. Let's say it's oh my God, it's one of those packages where it's like frustration. It's like it happened in 2 seconds, and that's what they're using.
Yeah.
Were you ever unhappy with any of the edits of your packages in general?
Yes. Yeah. Almost every
Which
time.
one? Really?
No, yeah. All of them. Yeah.
You were unhappy?
Yeah. I was like, why did they make me look so short? Apollo, you
Oh
are short.
my God. Like
that's
that.
right. That's right.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Who was your toughest competition?
I mean, me.
I knew
Me. I can't control what the other people are doing, you know?
Amen. What was the hardest personal sacrifice you made to join Dancing with the Stars your whole life?
It's just the time, right?
Yeah.
It's just the time, you know? You literally can't do anything else.
Describe a moment when you felt overwhelmed by the competition.
It's definitely the second time I did the show. I think the whole show season was overwhelming.
Has your
the demands were higher.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah. Has your perception of celebrity culture changed since appearing on Dancing with the Stars?
I would say that no, it hasn't, because I think that the celebrities that are involved on the show are a little bit different than I would say the celebrities today.
Yeah. I mean, that are on the show.
Yes.
Totally. Did you feel that the judges had favorites, especially during All Stars?
I think it's natural. Yes. Human nature.
What did you learn about show business that surprised you the most?
I think, if you remove one chain from the entire process, the whole thing crumbles. That's why everyone involved, it's a true team. You have to cast aside your ego when you're on the show. When you work in Hollywood, you have to remove your ego if you want to actually succeed. And it's just, I fell in love with that. I was very much an observer. I was like, God, these guys work so hard. It's incredible. I
mean, it's the vulnerability that wins. It's really, that's what it is. Like, if you try to be cool, don't sign up for Dancing with the Stars, dude, because you're going to have to really humble yourself. Like, there's nothing cool about wearing spandex and Cuban heels. I'll tell you that much. Like, but if you just own it, you're going to succeed, because it's humility, really. Yeah. I mean, just do it. You signed up for it. It's not charity work. Quickly, Julianne versus Karina. First impression of Julianne.
Fun, young, bubbly, everlasting energy bunny.
Karina.
Karina. Unlimited potential of energy, strong, just harder expectations. Both perfectionists, by the way.
Most intimidating, and why? Julianne or Karina?
Karina for sure.
Why? We already talked about that. You don't have to answer.
Yeah, just it's personality driven. Just
Who did you have the most chemistry performing live with? Obviously, we now know.
Yeah, Julianne. Yeah, for sure.
Who was stricter?
Karina.
Who gave you the most praise?
Julianne.
Julianne. Who did you have the most in common with on a personal level?
I had a lot in common with both of them. Yeah, in their own ways.
Who did you have the most fun with?
Julianne.
Who did you bicker with the most?
Julianne.
Really?
Yeah, because I held it in with Karina.
Right.
Yeah.
Who did you take it out on? I feel bad. Yourself?
Yeah, the mirror.
The mirror.
The mirror on 3rd Street.
Oh my God, your thoughts. Poor thoughts. Who made you rehearse the most?
Karina.
Who were you the most nervous dancing live with?
I was nervous with both.
Who was the better coach?
For my style, it was probably Julianne. But they're both very good.
If you competed on the show again, who would you want as your partner, Julianne or Karina?
Julianne.
Jules. Who is she's hosting now? Sorry. Who would take home the gold medal in speed skating, Julianne or Karina?
Ooh, that's a really tough one.
I know.
I don't know, because they both have so much fire. Julianne can actually skate.
Oh, really?
I think Karina can skate too.
I'm sure she could.
Yeah.
If she can't, she will.
Yeah.
Okay, fan questions. How did you prepare for your iconic freestyle from @AddieMWest? This is the last part.
We prepared because Julianne knew that I used to, when I was really young, used to love breakdancing in Seattle. And she was like, we have to put this in. It's like a piece of you.
Did you know that breakdancing has made it into the Olympics?
Yeah, it's wild. But have you seen the breakdancers today? They're like superhuman. The stuff these guys do doesn't look even normal.
Oh, I was going to say you should go. You should go there.
Yeah.
You should do that. You should do it.
Well, I value my back, my spine quality. You know?
I haven't seen it. It's a summer Olympic sport, right? Like,
Yeah, it's incredible. What they do is insane. It's so incredible. Yeah, it's a real sport. Hard to judge, but it's a real sport.
Freaking sport too. Just say
it's time.
Was it hard learning to break dance? Oh, you just talked about this. Okay, what was your favorite dance style at Class Angels?
I actually liked Paso Doble. That was really fun. Yeah, really fun.
With Karina or Julianne?
With both. I'm
sure with Karina too, because you're like, you could just take it all out on the dance floor.
Yeah, she would tell me that.
Yeah, right. At Stephanie Kersheville, are you dating anyone, Apollo?
I am single. I'm looking.
You're looking for love.
Praying and manifesting.
Are you really? Or are you just joking?
No, I'm single. I'm single. Yeah.
No, I meant like, are you really Are you looking for love? Like you're really actively looking? Are you on a dating app?
I've been on the dating apps. I don't prefer them. I don't.
See, I've been single for 3 years. When I say single, like I might as well be a nun again, like I'm born again. But like I seriously I've been on one date since my divorce and I'm like, fine. Like I'm fine. But I definitely don't want to do a dating app for exactly what you just said. Like this is crazy.
It's too, I mean, it works for some people. I'm a bit old fashioned. I'd rather meet someone who's a friend of a friend. I'd rather meet some naturally. If it comes, great. Almost all my friends have kids now.
Yeah.
And I think I yearn for that. I yearn for that partnership and to grow something together.
Someone asked, and don't feel free to say fuck off. What happened to were you engaged?
I was engaged. Yeah.
What happened?
I was engaged. Yeah. I almost got married. I mean, this is rapid fire. That's like a long story.
Don't even.
Let's just say it didn't work out, and it didn't work out, I think, for the better. Like I'm very happy to be on my own path.
Do you think you have commitment issues or anything like that, or no?
When I'm committed, I'm committed.
Yeah.
Like I'm fully in.
Yeah.
Without I won't give too much information, but I'm so committed. I've been in relationships in the past when there's lots of red flags, when there wasn't chemistry, and I just remain committed because I'm like, well, I need to be a bigger man. I need to step up more. This will all fade eventually. And so I need to be more. It's my fault.
Interesting.
And I do think there's elements of that's required in a relationship. However, I do think that if you don't have something in the beginning, baby, you got to walk away. Like you can't force it. You can't force it because it's going to later dancing. On. It's like dancing. There's got to be something in the beginning.
Get out while you can.
Yeah. Or you're going to have more. You're just delaying the inevitable scarring that's going to occur. And life is so short. So take it from me.
So don't get married.
Not everything is not. No, that's not true.
No, I mean, don't get married to the person with the red flags. Because like I did the same thing. Like I was like, like it'll be fine.
I mean, no one's perfect, right? But I think like if from the beginning, if you can't really see this happening, if you don't feel it as a truth, you have to listen. And I think the challenge today in 2024 is that our hearing has been muted because of all the stuff that's happened throughout the past 3-4 years and all the external distractions and all the extra pressures. We're not listening anymore because I tell you, this is not going to lie to you. It's
your intuition is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's truth.
Some people say they don't have it. That's BS. It's just you're not in tune with it because everyone has it. Okay, well, what's next for you, Apollo?
Well, I am